allow the effects of this holy pandemonium to really sink in. Yeah. And what kind of God would God be if the vote of millions in this world could sway God to change the divine law that speaks so clearly with compassion's elegant tongue, saying, eternally saying, right now in this very moment saying, all are forgiven. All are forgiven. Moreover, dears, no one has ever been guilty. So just take the next moment or two in silence. Allowing this divine eternal law to do its blessing work in the depth of your own being. And as you're ready, you can allow your eyes to open. One of the other tremendous things that we have from Jalaluddin Rumi. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. And each of us has a particular shard of light, has our own individual and distinct way of communing with that divine presence. Such a fascinating thing to come together as a community of worshipers, because our worship is the most intimate and private thing in those secret chambers of our heart. And then we come together and somehow we find that place within us. In the great container of sacred space that we create together. So we've had a little taste about the way in which this divine love is expressed in the Jewish tradition. Each tradition has its own particular gifts and blessings, and the more we can open ourselves to understand that God is all of that and beyond all of that, the more we have a deeper and fuller experience of God. That's the point, right? So easy to get kind of stuck in the brain stuff, in the concept. There's a great story told about when Rumi met Shams. So, you know, Rumi was a very consummate scholar in his day, as had been his father. He was a very well-respected teacher, and he was a young-ish man in his 30s. So imagine like college professor. And he's riding on his horse. He's got his books in his saddlebags. And they didn't have Amazon.com in those days. These were handwritten, very precious scrolls. Huh? And he had his students with him. And he meets Shams. So the picture I want you to get of Shams is dreadlocked, doesn't smell too great, out of his mind, dervish. Like some of the homeless people we sometimes bump into. So he and Rumi see each other. Quite a clash of points of view. And they instantly recognize one another. Shams had been praying that he would have one student in the course of his life to whom he could give a full transmission of his experience in communion with the divine presence. A complete download. And Rumi had been realizing that as much erudition as he had cultivated, that more often than not, he was kind of caught up in his head. And he knew he was missing a great deal. So when these guys met each other, it was like, and Shams, in typical mystic fashion, you know, throwing all the forms and the rules out the window to do exactly what God would have him to do in the moment. He goes over to Rumi's horse, and he takes the saddlebags with all those very precious scrolls, and he throws them in the well. Needless to say, he had Rumi's attention. And he said, yeah, where we're going, we won't be needing these. The texts from all the sacred traditions can only take us so far. Beyond that, it's all about the alive inner experience between each individual and the one. That is absolutely God's wish for each one of you. The living, breathing aliveness of the Holy One of Blessing. Eyes behind your eyes, breath behind your breath, heartbeat behind your heartbeat. Right here, right now. one of the other tremendous sound codes that we, the human race, has been given, comes from the Muslim tradition. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We begin in the name of the One. We begin in the vibration of unity and oneness, because that's all there is. And the most prominent characteristics of this One, whom the Muslims, the Sufis, of which Jalaluddin Rumi was one, Allah. The most prominent characteristics of this one reality, call it what you will, is Rahman Rahim. Rahman and Rahim in the Arabic. And fascinatingly, both of those words, which translate into English as mercy and compassion, those are the great substrate qualities of the divine presence. Mercy and compassion. In Arabic, those words, Rahman and Rahim, come from the root word which means womb. So just take a minute to feel into that notion of womb. That place of being held and cared for unconditionally. Every need met. Every nutrient supplied. The beating of the heart of the mother. Steadying you. Yeah. So we sing Bismillah. Repeat after me. Bismillah.
Bismillah.
Ar-Rahman.
Ar-Rahman.
Ar-Rahim.
Ar-Rahim.
Bismillah.
Bismillah.
Ar-Rahman.
Ar-Rahman.
Ar-Rahim.
Ar-Rahim.
Even the word Bismillah carries the notion of being held in the vibration. That's what the B is about. In Hebrew, the B is translated as house. Bait. Yeah. It's so cool to tap into these sounds because they bypass the mind. And boy, couldn't we use some of that? Just right into the depths of the heart. Yeah. So we're going to sing Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. We begin in the name of the One who is love, who is mercy, mercy and compassion. We'll sing it a few times and please join us. Pick up your shake, rattle, and roll devices. Yeah. And the one other phrase in this particular prayer is Hu, H-U, Hu Allahu. So in Arabic, Allah represents that one reality. The Hu indicates its aliveness, its livingness. This relationship we have with the divine presence is the most alive, juicy, delicious, present moment experience. That's Hu, Allahu. So when we chant that, it kind of like, you know, those bellows that we use, it kind of makes the fire get bigger. That's what happens when we sing like this. All right? So, I'm going to teach this to you. Thank you all for being such good sports about singing with us in these new ways. I really appreciate that so very much. Yeah. All right. Held in the one great embrace of love. Right here, right now. Bismillah. Bismillah. Ar-Rahman. In that great womb of belonging where everyone is held and welcome. Nobody left out. No exclusions, no distinctions. Every being on the planet held in that great womb of love. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
invite you now to remain with your eyes closed as we sing just a few refrains of this beautiful Christian hymn in English. May these sentiments wash over you and drench every fiber of your being. And that you take these sentiments with you into a few minutes of divine silence, all of us together here, to commune with that living presence whose throne room is your heart. Blessed always, blessed always, for the love of God surrounds us. May our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say And from this place of your own inner attunement and communion with the Source, I invite you now to expand your attention to embrace this absolutely stunning community of Unity Center for Practical Spirituality as our ushers come through the aisles to receive your donations. And Hamida and I will pick up the refrain of Blessed Always. Blessed always, blessed always, for the love of God surrounds us. May our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the love of God surrounds us. May our joy be so triumphant that we